The biggest story / mystery in the world of WWE right now is who is the White Rabbit. Now, what we're going to do today is a little bit different from what we would usually do. Instead of talking about the news, we're going to go into 5, 6, possibly 7 people who could be the person revealed behind the mystery videos. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. Now, I want to do something a little bit different this morning. Now, at the time of recording this, I'm actually pre-recording this the day before it's going to drop on Wednesday morning, afternoon, depending on where you are. I'm actually traveling this morning, but I want to give you guys all of the content that you guys have subscribed for, liked for, or you view the channel for, or just that pro wrestling chat that we're enjoying. And for me, the thing that I think that most people are enjoying right now about WWE is, of course, the improved in-ring product, the entertaining product, the promos, etc. But the thing that everyone's talking about is the White Rabbit. Who is the person behind the White Rabbit? Now, as of today, Tuesday, the 27th of September, it's going to air on the 28th. But on today, Tuesday, the 27th of September, we've had, 3 teaser videos at this point? We've had the first one, which was the game of Hangman. We had the next one, which was the game of sort of Pac-Man. Then last night on Raw, we had the TikTok video. And it's led to just a lot of real cryptic and exciting information. It's led to coordinates. It's led to cryptic words. It's led to landmarks in Italy. It's led to random towns in Kentucky. It's led to a town of Windham in Maine. It's led to a YouTube channel that hasn't posted reportedly in 15 years and then post something else. In reality, they probably took down the other stuff that they posted, but it's led to a lot of really interesting stuff. And the biggest question coming out of it is the one you can see right there below me. It's who is the White Rabbit? Who is the person behind the White Rabbit? So let's get into this. Let's get into the candidates. Let's get into the likelihood. Let's get into why it could be these people or why maybe it couldn't be this person. So start off, the obvious person, of course, the Fiend Bray Wyatt, right? That's the name that everyone thinks it is going to be. That's the name that is the favorite. That's the name that everyone keeps talking about right now. And honestly, I think that myself, that's the name I'm leading towards, and frankly, I think that's the name it has to be. I mean, even if it's not, I've spoken about this quite a lot recently here, that even if it's not Bray Wyatt, even if WWE and Triple H, and it must be said, we really don't know one way or the other who it actually is, because the cards are being kept very close to the vest right now. They're all of the big hitters, your Sean Ross Sapps, your Mike Johnson, your Dave Meltzers, your Andrew Zarians, your WrestleVotes, you name it. Everyone is essentially saying the same thing, which is, we've asked, everyone says they don't know, and a lot of people legitimately don't even know really where the videos or the props came from, because it's a count on one hand number of people that know what's going on. Nobody knows the real identity. It's being kept very close to the vest and people don't know. But the feeling backstage in WWE, the feeling amongst the fan base is that it's leading to the return of the Fiend Bray Wyatt. Now, there have been videos of Wyndham Rotunda training or trying to improve his cardio that have emerged on social media and YouTube, leading one to think he is actively training for his eventual WWE return. And all of the hints point to it most likely being Bray Wyatt. All of just the general feeling of it all. And I think really that's what the initial sort of takeaway from it is that this feels like Bray Wyatt, doesn't it? And as a wrestling fan, if you've watched wrestling, particularly WWE, long enough, your senses are in tune to certain pro wrestlers. Your senses are tuned into what certain characters would do and certain people would do in the creative mind, as it were, of certain superstars. And this just feels like a Bray Wyatt project. This feels so outside of the box. No, it's not even outside of the box. The box is on the other side of the room, and this is playing around somewhere else. But that's what Bray Wyatt is like. That's the creativity. And when he had his interview recently with Ariel Helwani of BT Sport, Triple H said that he loved working with Bray Wyatt, and he loved just how super creative he was. If anything, the difficulty working with Bray Wyatt is that he was so creative, it was almost difficult to harness it and control it and shape it into something that could air on television or whatever. But that's what we're kind of seeing right now. And it must be stated that it's super important to say none of this is aired on TV. None of it. None of this is aired on TV. Every time White Rabbit by Jefferson Airplane has played over the speakers inside of a WWE arena, it's been during commercial breaks of Raw and SmackDown. It's been during breaks of between matches and live events. None of this is aired on TV. The only things that have actually aired on television right now are the QR codes, and they've been in the background. Yes, we've seen random props appearing, such as crows. There was a rumor that possibly you could see a buzzard in the background of Raw last night. I don't really subscribe to that one that much, but this all feels like Bray Wyatt. And frankly, if it's not the Fiend returning to WWE, then I think they've got a problem on their hands, because I don't think any reveal apart from Bray Wyatt will be satisfying to fans now. And I think that, again, if not, then some of these clues make zero sense. I mean, and that's to say, look, the clues don't have to make sense. How many times throughout WWE history have vignettes aired which the clues actually never added up to the reveal? I remember Chris Jericho in 2012, where he had all of that YouTube channel, and he had the vignettes of the little kids, the boy and the girl and all this kind of stuff. And he was asked, well, what was the message behind that? He went, there wasn't one. I just thought they looked creepy, and I wanted just it to look a bit creepy. So that's not to say that all of these clues we're getting have to actually add up to Bray Wyatt. Frankly, a lot of them do. A lot of them point to the town of Wyndham in Maine is a pretty significant thing to Bray Wyatt, because it's his real name. He's Wyndham Rotunda. So I think it is Bray Wyatt. I think it is the return of the Fiend. That's what it feels like. Of course, we've seen all of these names return recently to WWE, and it feels like Bray Wyatt is the next logical name. And he's the biggest name on the free agent scene right now, and he's the biggest name that Triple H can bring back. And as I mentioned, if it's not the Fiend, then I think WWE's got a bit of a trouble on their hands, because that's what people want it to be. But let's get into some other names who it could be. I mean, it might not just be Bray Wyatt. There are other names involved as well. One name is Karrion Kross, and really, the only reason people think it could be Karrion Kross is, well, two reasons, really. One being, in Lucha Underground, he was dubbed the White Rabbit. That's pretty on the nose. And obviously, with all of this White Rabbit stuff, people said, well, that is the nickname that Karrion Kross was using. So it's a possibility it could be him because of that. In the first game of Hangman, there was an hourglass in the bottom right-hand corner. I can't recall off the top of my head if that hourglass has been there since. It might have been. But there was an hourglass, particularly in the first video. And as I mentioned, he went by the White Rabbit in Lucha Underground. I just think it would be really a massive letdown if it were Karrion Kross. Now, if this was a build-up for Karrion Kross returning to WWE TV, let's say Karrion Kross hadn't returned to television already, and this was part of his return to WWE, then maybe that would work. I still think if you played these same clues, people would want it to be Bray Wyatt, they'd want it to be The Fiend, and if it was revealed to be Karrion Kross without him even returning to television previously, I think fans would be somewhat let down, but they would say, okay, they're putting a lot of momentum and a lot of steam on Karrion Kross. It's unique, it's different, it kind of fits in his character. His character is somewhat supernatural, so it works, right? And he can be somewhat cryptic with the presentation that he has with Scarlet and the Hourglass and Fallen Prey and TikTok and all that kind of stuff. That works. It fits. The issue is Karrion Kross has already returned to television. He's been back on WWE TV for 2 months at this point. So it doesn't really make any active sense to have all of these cryptic vignettes and this huge social media, online, internet mystery for a guy that's actively involved on WWE TV. He's already made his WWE return. He's involved in a big feud right now with Drew McIntyre. He's going to be facing Drew McIntyre in a strap match at Extreme Rules. Chances are it could be the main event of the show. So why would you have this big reveal be someone that's already on the roster and they've already made their return? So the Hourglass thing and him being the White Rabbit, I think is just coincidence, really. He posted a thing on social media of the White Rabbit as well, and put in I think an emoji of a white rabbit or something like that, or maybe a gif of him in Lucha Underground. I forget what it was. But if he was the White Rabbit, WWE wouldn't want him to do that. They wouldn't want him to give it away. So I don't think it's Karrion Kross. And I think that initial discussion of if it could be Karrion Kross kind of subsided quite quickly. Another name, particularly after last night's clue on Raw, was Aleister Black. Now, the reason people are saying it could be Aleister Black is because if you go onto the website, which the latest video appears on, it's a TikTok video, if you look in the HTML code, it says the first 2 lines of Aleister Black's theme song that he used for a period of time in WWE. And it led to people saying, well, it kind of does fit, I suppose. Aleister Black, Malachi Black in AEW, has done cryptic vignettes before. He did them when he was building up his return to WWE. He was subsequently released just a couple of weeks later after that, but he's done cryptic vignettes. He plays a supernatural character. He played one in NXT. He played one in WWE. He plays one in AEW with the House of Black. He can appear out of the darkness and all that kind of stuff. So the cryptic and kind of dark nature of it does make sense from that point. So that's a tick. He's very close with Triple H. Of course, Triple H made him the NXT champion during his time in developmental on the Black and Gold brand of NXT. And there was so much hope for Aleister Black on the main roster because of the booking of Aleister Black in NXT under Triple H. We also thought at the time that Aleister Black was done with AEW because Malachi Black, it was reported, had been released. He had asked for his release. He had been granted a conditional release because he had 4 years left on a 5-year deal. Therefore, he'd been granted a conditional release whereby he couldn't go to WWE for a period of time. But some people thought with last night's HTML code, could this mean something else? Could they have found a way around it? This, that, and the other. The answer is this one is as maybe the most unlikely on the list because he is still under contract with All Elite Wrestling. Malachi Black went on Instagram Live earlier today and said that he has not been released from AEW. He has simply taken some time off. He disputed that he's got 4 years left on a 5-year contract, but he has confirmed that he is not released. Tony Khan has given him some extra time off from the company, and he's just taking time away, as he mentioned, to recalibrate and get things straight. So unless they're going to air the White Rabbit vignettes for 4 years, I don't think it's going to be hinting that an Aleister Black return is happening to WWE. What those opening lines mean, maybe they're red herrings, maybe they are just coincidence, maybe, I don't know, maybe they used the same just text, HTML text for this TikTok that they did for one in the past. I don't know where that comes from. There might be people, honestly, within WWE that have created all of this, that created the video, that hosted it and put it up on the site. When they saw that clue on social media, they might have gone, you know what, I have no idea where that came from. I have no idea. Or maybe, again, because the details really do matter in this mystery, maybe it's just a red herring. Maybe it's just to throw people off because everyone really knows who it is. The person it is Bray Wyatt the Fiend. And if it's not, they want it to be, and they're working out a deal for it to be right now. Because, again, if it isn't, there's going to be a riot. So maybe it's a red herring. Maybe it's just coincidence. I don't know. But Aleister Black is not returning to WWE. He's still under contract to AEW, and he's not going anywhere anytime soon. He's just taking some time off. That's the situation there. Now, this is an interesting one because particularly after the game of Pac-Man on SmackDown on Friday, it led to some discussion that could this all be to do with the Judgment Day? Because when you look at the game of Hangman, what does the rabbit type out first? Now, the answer is you did. It's who killed the world, you did. But look at the letters that the rabbit types out. And it types out the word demon, which, of course, is closely associated with Finn Balor. It's his alter ego. Now, for SmackDown on Friday, the game of Pac-Man, if you completed the game, the word came up along with the coordinates. The word came up patricide, which means killing of one's father. You can look at Dominic Mysterio's recent portrayal of his father, Rey Mysterio, as WWE's equivalent of patricide. Now, there was a rumor, and this clue could still happen in the future. There was a rumor on Reddit before Monday Night Raw last night that the latest clue was going to be a game of checkers, or it was going to be on a chessboard, and it was going to have hearts and clubs associated with Alice in Wonderland, which is, again, quite in keeping with the Fiend Bray Wyatt. But at the end of it, the White Rabbit was going to be washed away in a riptide. Now, the riptide, of course, is the finishing move of none other than Rhea Ripley. And that would lead to the third sort of Judgment Day reference, the demon, patricide, Dominic Mysterio, riptide in Rhea Ripley. And then I guess you would be thinking, is something going to happen about Damian Priest's heaven or hell? I mean, that's just kind of associated with all of this anyway. So could it have something to do with the Judgment Day? And to be honest, if it did, massively disappointing. I mean, everything's been really underwhelming about the faction anyway. So if they had this White Rabbit thing have something to do with them, that would be disappointing. There was a thought process. It could be to do with Edge. You know, Edge has had these cryptic and mysterious vignettes already this year when he was returning prior to SummerSlam. So there was a feeling that maybe it could be something to do with him. Of course, now we know that's not the case because he returned to Monday Night Raw last night. He's going to be facing Finn Balor at Extreme Rules in a I Quit match. Now, it must be said, at Extreme Rules, there is on a lot of the posters, specifically the Edge and Finn Balor one, if you look at it, but I think in all of the posters, there is a lantern there that you would associate with the Fiend Bray Wyatt. There is also fireflies, which you would associate with Bray Wyatt. So again, all of these clues and hints point to Bray Wyatt. But if it was the Judgment Day, I don't really see how that could work out unless more clues hint towards that. But I don't see that being the real person or the group behind the White Rabbit. And let's get into a couple of these other names, which there are no clues pointing to this, but you never know of pro wrestling. Cody Rhodes. Could Cody Rhodes be the White Rabbit? The only reason it could be Cody Rhodes is because he's on the shelf and he could return. I mean, he had surgery on his pec back in June. Obviously, he tore his pec. He had that match against Seth Rollins. He was written off television because of it. He recently did an interview with TMZ Sports, said he's on the road to recovery, but his doctors have told him recently he has the strength of an 11-year-old, and they haven't actually given him a timetable to return because they know that if they give him one, he'll push it, and it might jeopardize his recovery. From what we've heard, the feeling and the hope is that Cody Rhodes will be ready to go come the time of the Royal Rumble. He's probably right now the favorite to win the Men's Royal Rumble next year and possibly challenge Roman Reigns for the Undisputed Universal Championship if indeed Reigns is not going to be facing The Rock at WrestleMania yet next year, which is still a possibility. So if it was Rhodes, I can't really see any connection from what the clues we have seen, so I can't see how it would be Cody Rhodes. But look, we have seen, as I mentioned, vignettes throughout WWE history leave clues and hints and have nothing to do with the person that it's eventually revealed to be. So maybe it could be Cody Rhodes, but I highly doubt that. Another name could be Brock Lesnar. The only reason I think it could be Brock Lesnar is because Brock is going to return to TV very, very soon. It is Saudi season. We already have one match announced for Crown Jewel in November, that being Roman Reigns versus Logan Paul for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship, and Brock earns his money by appearing on these Saudi shows. Brock has appeared, I think, on pretty much every Saudi show there has ever been. So Brock Lesnar will be wrestling at Crown Jewel later on in November. Now, we don't know right now who the opponent is going to be. It hasn't actually been reported or confirmed, but logically, Brock will be competing on that show. So maybe this is just a different way to hype up a Brock Lesnar return. Traditionally, they don't really do that. Brock just shows up. That's how they hype up a Brock Lesnar return. At the end of Raw or SmackDown, he shows up, hits someone with an F5, that's it. Now, Brock, apart from Bobby Lashley, really hasn't worked with anyone else, apart from Roman Reigns since he returned to WWE last year. So it'll be interesting to think who it could be, but this all just feels really too cryptic and mysterious to be a Brock Lesnar thing. As I mentioned, Brock Lesnar shows up when he just shows up. That's what they do. So I don't see it being Brock Lesnar. What about, and this is my real long shot, could the White Rabbit be none other than Vince McMahon? Now, listen, hear me out, guys. Hear me out. Obviously, the scandal and the retirement and the resignation and the aftermath of that, which is still ongoing, means it being Vince McMahon, it's not Vince McMahon. It must be said. But we have seen mysterious reveals and cryptic videos be revealed to be none other than Vince McMahon or Mr. McMahon in the past. Do I need to say more than the higher power from the corporate ministry? It was me, Austin. It was me, Austin, all along. Could it be that? It was me, WWE Universe. It was me all along. It's Vince McMahon. It's Mr. McMahon. My demise. You thought I was dead, but now I'm back. Could you imagine? Who killed the world? Vince McMahon did, because he created the WWE Universe, right? He created the thing. Who killed it, right? That's maybe what it could be. He's the real true demon in WWE. It's not Vince McMahon, but could you imagine? Could you imagine if this cryptic vignette that has been playing during commercial breaks, that has not been airing on television, is all about the return of Mr. McMahon to WWE TV? Oh, it would be awful. It would be awful. And thankfully it's not. As I mentioned, the most likely person is that it's Bray Wyatt, the Fiend Bray Wyatt, returning to WWE. But let me know your thoughts. Could it be someone else? Is there someone else I've missed off this list? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right hand corner. I will be back with a brand new updated news video this evening. As I mentioned, we're just pre-recording this the day before because I'm traveling this morning at the time where this is airing. So I wanted to make sure you had some content to get into to and discuss and enjoy, and it feels like at the moment everyone's talking about the White Rabbit. So I wanted to do a little bit of a fun video about the White Rabbit. I don't really usually do sort of top 5s, top 6, top 7s, or countdown videos or anything like that. I try and keep it to new stuff, current events, watch-alongs, you know, that kind of stuff, post shows. But if this is like the kind of stuff that you like, let me know. Let me know. This is your channel, so let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. And as I mentioned, let me know, who do you think the White Rabbit is? Is it Bray Wyatt? Is it Karrion Kross? Is it Aleister Black? Is it Finn Balor? Is it Cody Rhodes? Is it Brock Lesnar? Is it Vince McMahon? Or is it someone else? Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon. Peace. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.